We now move to the West Coast, and this is a question that has maybe since the dawn of time been asked, at least since the first primitive humans began scrawling drawings of animals on cave walls. What is art?
What is art? Has been asked many times.
How do you define art?
Yes, I have. We had someone in our studio once
Pose the question, and Kelly could not come up with an answer.
I took a class when I was in college, art history, and the final exam had one question: what is art?
You heard me.
Yeah.
I don't know what art is.
Do you think anyone in that class, because I mean, I know a little bit about art, but I wouldn't know how to answer a question like that. I could bluff. But do you think anyone ever just kind of said, like, one word answer and turned it in?
They could.
Like, whatever?
They could.
Or this?
Everything.
Everything is art.
Nothing is art.
Whatever you think it is.
You could argue nothing is art or everything is art.
Yes, you could. Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, but a city in California is in the middle of a debate right now about the topic, what is art? It is Palm Springs. They have commissioned a sculptor named Philip K. Smith to design a memorial to be placed in the city's downtown park to those who have died and those who have been affected by AIDS. Now, the design has not been built yet, but Chris Kelly and I have seen some 3D renderings, and they're some of the most lifelike 3D rendering. I thought it had been erected.
I did. I thought it was real. I thought it was.
I thought it was
park.
real.
I did,
but apparently it is not. Those who have seen the design say that Philip either missed the mark by a mile or he's having a laugh at the city's expense. Because in the artist's vision, it is a massive limestone ring that's not only beautiful because of its design, it provides you, the viewer, with an opportunity to both reflect and look forward. To others, however, the statue looks like, there's no easy way to say it, a 9-foot tall anus.
It does look like an anus.
Oh.
I've seen it. It looks exactly like a butthole.
Okay.
I mean, enormous.
9 foot.
9-foot butthole. Now, is it art? Maybe.
Yeah.
But others are saying, we can't display this.
You hear it called the donut all the time. You hear it called the word we can't say on camera all the time.
The backside of the proposed memorial looks like a graphic depiction of the backside of a human being. I can just visualize the whole slew of potential social media posts making fun of something that is so important to our community.
Yeah.
I mean, I just showed it today.
Big, have you seen
these images? It looks like a big old butthole.
Well,
Really does.
And for AIDS, you can't have that. I mean, we all know what people make fun of that. That's just horrible. You can't do that. So they, I guess they're going to do something different.
The town has asked the sculptor to the Palm Springs AIDS Memorial Task Force has issued a statement saying, we've heard your concerns. A new revision is on the way.
Yeah, two things also came to mind. First of all, once I had forgotten all about this, and in preparation for this, Chris Demm mentioned it today. Years ago, Dave Aiken became somewhat famous for a line, the big AIDS thing, and I had forgotten what we were talking. Do you remember what we were talking about when you made that line famous? We were talking about.
I don't think it was that topic.
It wasn't that topic.
I'll tell you what it was. I heard it. Chris Demm was getting ready to, in a Demm report, to talk about a story where a guy had gotten a straight edge razor shave.
That's right.
From a barber shop. And Chris Demm said, I hear that a good barber giving you a straight edge shave with a razor is fantastic. And then this 5 seconds occurs.
I'm sure it's a great shave. I hear it's incredible.
Yeah. It's hard to find barbers that do it nowadays, ever since the big AIDS thing.
There's a nugget you haven't heard in a
Haven't
while.
heard that in a while, have you? Yeah, from barbershops.
I'm sure it's a great shave. I hear it's incredible.
Yeah. It's hard to find barbers that do it nowadays, ever since the big AIDS thing.
Yeah, the big.
Now you can't say that anymore.
No,
Floyd, can I get a shave? I can't, Andy. The AIDS thing. It's big. I can give you sideburns, but I can't give you a shave.
Wouldn't do it. Big AIDS thing. Can't have it.
They have the big AIDS thing.
No.
I don't think when they look at the map of AIDS hotspots, I don't think it gives you a lot of barbershops.
No, I agree. I don't think that's the reason. Maybe
There was a time there. That's why they didn't do it.
the big AIDS thing.
I'm telling you.
Blood on the razor.
Well, yeah,
That's right.
There's a great
Mellencamp
risk.
wrote about it.
Blood on the razor. Yes.
You could get nicked.
That's right. I'd forgotten all about that. That was years ago.
Oh, my decades.
What my favorite part is that he takes a long pause. Like what?
I'm sure it's a great shave. I hear it's incredible.
Yeah. It's hard to find barbers that do it nowadays. Ever since the big AIDS thing.
Yeah, it's that beat. The big AIDS thing. Right. I remember that. The big AIDS thing. Who could forget it?
There was silence for a little while.
Oh yeah.
Since then, by the way, I've had 2 straight razor shaves. Awful.
Oh, they weren't good.
Yeah, terrible.
You didn't like
the people didn't know what they were doing.
That's right.
That's the thing. Is I think people don't know what they're doing.
Got to be really good.
Butchered. Thankfully,
Yeah.
the big AIDS thing had come and gone.
Well, that was, and it's so incredible. When I saw this on the grid today, this anal-shaped
9-foot anus.
9-foot anus memorial, I did a deep dive on AIDS while we were on vacation.
Apropos of nothing.
I forget what, somehow, I think I was watching a show. It might have been the Watergate thing. The Watergate show I told you
Big
about.
Watergate thing.
Big Watergate. You remember the big Watergate thing?
Yeah, you told me about that.
It's pretty good. It's
Can you
called
share what you've learned?
It's called White House Plumbers. Well, one, if this is accurate, the people who broke into the Watergate were absolute morons. I mean, Howard Hunt is portrayed as and G. Gordon Liddy as psychopaths and dumb. 2, Nixon did not need to do that at all. We knew that. It's just his own demons. He was
Paranoia.
he was going to win the election anyway. And 3, I didn't realize this. They broke in 4 times. They tried. I didn't know
that.
Well, and apparently this is accurate. They had 2 unsuccessful attempts where
to get the bugs on the Democratic headquarters.
Yeah, first time they didn't get in for whatever reason. They didn't bring the right tools, and like one of the guys, like they're in Miami. Okay, and then one time Howard Hunt, who masterminded this along with G. Gordon Liddy, rented a hotel ballroom, and the plan was for Hunt and a couple of the other burglars to be in the ballroom, at an event, they had dinner in the ballroom as if they were having something, and to stay in the ballroom until security
time?
Yeah, until security left, and then go up to the Democratic headquarters. And so security leaves and everything. They say you have to be out by 10. They're like, okay, we'll be out. Well, they hid. And they were locked in the ballroom, and they were all locked in. They couldn't get out. And then the next morning, somebody comes and they slip out. And so then the 3rd time they were successful. They planted bugs. And the 4th time they went back to get rid of some of the bugs and to take pictures of a drawer, and that's when they got caught. Because the 3rd time they left some evidence, and they're like, what's going on here? And then the 4th time they're like, oh, they got them.
That may have been the first time, because I'm old enough to remember, when the story broke, that they before Watergate was part of the consciousness.
Yeah.
And they always called them bungling burglars.
Yes.
That was the phrase that the news media repeated over and over
It was
and
the
over.
bumbling crook, the bumbling burglars.
Yeah, they were
Watergate.
advisors and politicians. They weren't. They weren't cops.
And I don't know. It's a pretty good show. I wouldn't say it's excellent. It got better as it went along. But, in All the President's Men, now we're going way back, but this movie about Watergate, All the President's Men, they do a lot where you're just seeing the other side. And it's almost like exact same scenes, but from the burglar's perspective. It's like the call from Robert Redford to Howard Hunt is exactly, but it's from his end of the phone. And they do it exactly the same. And do you know, they say in that G. Gordon Liddy, to prove what a man he was, used to hover his hand over a lit candle.
Yep.
And Deep Throat says this to him. It's like he just didn't mind the pain. He would get through the pain just to prove.
Because people would say, doesn't it hurt? He goes, it does hurt.
Yeah.
The trick is not caring.
So he does it once in the show, and it's kind of funny. Later he's got a bandage on, and they're like, candle again? Yeah. Candle. And so then, at one point, it's all falling apart. And they're at Howard Hunt's house, and they are having dinner, and they're trying to like, oh, my God, we're going to go to a federal prison for 40 years, and God, it's your fault. They're fighting and everything. And there's candles lit on the table, and Howard Hunt says something, and Liddy's like, do I need to do this? And he puts it over and Hunt's like, God, and he blows out the...
This is serious.
He blows it out the floor. It's hilarious. Anyhow, somehow, now let me get back to the big AIDS thing.
Yeah.
Please.
They mention Rock Hudson somehow. I don't even know. Rock Hudson comes up. Now, Rock Hudson was diagnosed with AIDS. So I was like, let me see about Rock Hudson because I don't know much about him. Now, Rock Hudson was the first celebrity to have AIDS that we knew, right? Mm-hmm. He was diagnosed, Rock Hudson, in June of 1985, and he was dead in October. I mean, that's how fast that went. And it started coming, like, for a couple of months, it was like, what's wrong with Rock Hudson?
You saw the pictures of him.
And everybody.
Why is he losing weight?
Why does he look terrible? And they said this and that, and he flew to Paris for what he thought was going to be experimental treatments and everything, like charter a plane, but it was so weak he could barely even move, and he died 3 months later. So I just thought to myself, Rock Hudson is diagnosed in June and dead 3 months later in 1985. Mm-hmm. Only 6 years later, Magic Johnson is diagnosed HIV positive,
right,
and is still alive.
Yeah.
He's lived now with it for 32 years, even though it was only 6 years later. Look at the advancement, and they both had access to the best care. Mm-hmm. But look at the advancement it made in just that short time. It just struck me as like, holy cow! Because I thought when Magic Johnson announced he was HIV positive, well, he'll be dead.
I think most of the world thought.
Yeah, he'll be dead in a few years.
He'll be dead.
And so...
And quick advancement because people were scared.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you were young and single and out there, it scared the hell out of you.
Yeah. So that because
it was a death sentence.
It just struck me as how one of them, immediate death. Like you said, a death sentence. Yeah. And then only 6 years later, if you had enough money and could get access to that, you could live on it. All right. That's all I have to say about the Watergate and AIDS.
All right.
But that AIDS thing.
Yeah.
It was big.
It was. He's right.
That's a millstone around your neck, Dave.
Big.
Yeah, it'll stay with you.
I'll carry that.
Never outlive that.
It's an albatross.
That's your stone of Sisyphus.
Yeah. Your tombstone will be anus shaped. That'll be it'll be a big 9-foot anus.
What is art?
That is art. That's what it's going to be. That's right.
And finally, did you hear the one about the Ohio man who may not be going to jail, or who may be going to jail for not being eaten by a bear? The story begins just across the state line in Kanawha County, West Virginia. It's shortly after midnight, Friday, and the local sheriff's office got a panic call from 47-year-old Christian Leonard. Christian hollered, "Lord help me. I've been attacked by bears. They're all around me."
Yeah.
Christian told the dispatcher one of the bears had already sliced his head open. The operator said, "Until we can find you, you've got to use some of your clothing. Use your shirt. Use a sock as an emergency bandage." Christian told the operator he'd been lost in the woods for days and his cell phone battery was about to die. Deputies set out, but it was dark, and the terrain is very steep in that part of West Virginia. Search and rescue teams went out combing the woods using emergency lights and sirens in an attempt to scare off the marauding bears. Finally, after 2 hours, they found Christian, who, much like our own Weather Dave Aiken, when shot in the arm, declined medical treatment, despite the fact that he said he'd been eaten by a bear.
Right.
A short time later, he said, "Yeah, there were never any bears. I was just drunk. I just got lost."
Well, what do you know? What do you know?
No bears. So Christian has been charged with false reporting an emergency.
Well, of course. That's really pretty funny, though, the way they did that.
They're coming out. They're hungry. Bears. That time of year.
Big bears.
About to go hibernate?
Yeah.